Hi, so we are back with a new episode of Shuffle, and here we have Ariel and Randy, who have agreed with us to tell us a little bit of their story with Shuffle. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hey,
Hey,
good.
yeah, doing great.
Thank you so much for coming to the podcast, and I really appreciate it. I would like to start asking you, how did you get to know Shuffle? And how did you choose to go to one of our events?
Sure. I've been to two shuffle events, and I'm sure this is a common story. I was just really sick of the apps and looking for more experiences in person. And so I was, just looking at meetups and, doing some School of Rock stuff. And then a friend recommended Shuffle. And so I thought it was perfect for an in-person, opportunity to meet people.
Nice.
Yeah, and I describe myself as a dating app refugee. Completely reached the point where I was so over it that I was happier being single than ever getting on an app again. And so I'd started refocusing my attention around going to dance classes and talking to people. But Seattle is kind of an introverted city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I live on Capitol Hill in Seattle, and when I saw signs literally just like posted on telephone poles about the events. And then on a trip to San Francisco, I was in the Mission and I saw signs in the Mission about shuffle events. And I was like, well, if it's in both Capitol Hill and the Mission, it might be my kind of people. So I only went to one.
Wow.
And I this. So I stopped going.
Well, that's effective. That's very
Good ROI.
effective.
Good ROI.
So, Randy, they got to both or like two events.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the system? Which time did you go? Because there was a time where we had like text, and now we have a web link. So, can you tell me a little bit?
Yeah, no, both times was with the web link. The first one was at Zeitgeist in Pioneer Square. And it worked. I mean, it worked out pretty great. I didn't notice that there was a prompt question. I just started talking to people. But yeah,
you just started talking to people?
We're both extroverts. So it's kind of our. But that's not to say that like when I met the event I met Ariel at, there was someone who was extremely introverted, and we just had a really good conversation. And I was like really like impressed and proud of her for putting herself out there, but because she even was like, I'm just like really introverted. So yeah, I thought the system was great. Prompts and you just keep the web page open and follow along.
Nice. What about you, Ariel? You only tried it once. What will be your experience?
Yeah, I really didn't know what to expect. And I'm an extrovert. I like talking to people. So I wasn't nervous about talking to people, but I didn't understand what the structure was going to be like, or I just didn't really know what to expect. So I actually went on Reddit beforehand and searched to see if anyone in Seattle had ever attended one, and read some descriptions that people had written. And one of my favorite descriptions was from someone who actually worked at one of the venues where a shuffle dating event had happened. And they were like, oh, well, I wasn't one of the daters, but just seeing people talking to each other and everybody seemed like they were having a good time. They were like, it seemed like a really cool event. So somehow having that like third party recommendation of someone who'd just been in the room at one of these events being like, it seemed like everybody was having fun, was very reassuring for me. When I went, I liked that it, there was the webpage on my phone told me who to look for. I mean, it sort of just felt like being at a bar cafe with age appropriate people who maybe I was going to be interested in. I like talking to people about the human condition. So like, it's easy enough to sit down and talk to people for 10 minutes and be like, who are you? What's your deal? Even if there was no attraction, which, that was fine. Everybody's an interesting human. Agreed. Then there was an attraction. So that was nice too.
So how do you feel when you got that email that said match? Or you already knew that you matched during the event. How was that? How was feeling?
Uh, yeah, I matched with the two people I thought I would match with. Yeah, it's great, and it's really prompt. It's like you don't have to wait too long. You get the results the next day, and so it was nice not having to be waiting to see if the people I wanted to matched with me.
But how do you feel about it? Because a lot of people say like, I don't know if I should reach out, or I don't know if I should
Oh,
wait, or I don't know. How
oh,
did that next interaction?
yeah, I'm just like having a match is really exciting to me, and so I'm just it's really easy for me to reach out to the person and express interest and.
So both of us matched with two people at the event, so each other and then someone else. And what was interesting for me was that the other person I matched with was someone who, if I had encountered them on a dating app, I would have been very excited, right? Like conventionally attractive, worked a cool job, like things that on a dating app I would have been like, oh yeah, right swipe. And then Randy, who has shared with me since we started dating the pictures that he used to have on his dating app, I would not have, he would have been a hard left swipe for me.
Yeah.
Those pictures. So what was interesting is at the event, like as soon as I started talking to him, I was like, I would just like to talk to you all night, basically. And then this other person who was very attractive, who I also matched with, it was a very flat conversation. And so I matched with both of them because I was like, okay, well, one I like talking to, and the other one was like, like, sure.
Pretty cat.
Like, I'll take that one. And then when I got the email saying that I'd matched with both of them, I was very excited, and Randy immediately texted, and we immediately spent like 2 hours texting that night before having a date the next night, and then another date 2 days later. And the other person I matched with, I didn't hear from until Friday. So we got the email on Monday. The event was Sunday. We got the email Monday. By the time Friday rolled around and I heard from this other person who I'd matched with, we'd already been on 3 dates, basically.
Oh, wow.
And I responded, and this other person was like, hey, I'm so sorry I was traveling this week. I'm happy we matched. Would you like to hop on the phone and see if there's, more of a connection? And I just responded right away saying, hey, I only like to date one person at a time, and I'm already dating someone who I met last weekend. So I'm going to politely decline, but, thanks so much for reaching out. So I know.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I know people have, for a whole variety of self-preservational reasons, people have little rules about like, don't text too soon, or you don't want to look too interested or whatever. I respect everybody's strategies, but I think part of what I've learned from app dating is those strategies are bullshit. They don't work. They make everybody unhappy. If you match with someone and you like them and you're actually available, text them.
Yeah. And having the conversation ahead of time helps to, you had a good conversation, they're interested. So just text them.
Don't wait. I mean, literally, homeboy waited 4 days and I was like, sorry, pass. Like I'm already 3 dates in with someone else. See you later. So yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. I'm an app user myself because Shuffle is not in my country yet. But it sounds like, the less that you care about what the other person said, the more opportunities you have. Like, just reach out, just text. You'll never know what you will find on the other side.
Totally. I mean, and for us, we are both very communicative, chatty people. Like that's part of what is a match. And so for us, reaching out right away, like that was the first green flag. Is I was like, oh, good. The minute he got my number, he texted me. Great. That's what I'm looking for. We like good comps.
So, how long have you been going out now? By now,
98 days.
Love it.
Not that he's keeping track, but
not that he's counting.
3 months-ish, a little more than 3 months. It's still new.
When we agreed to the interview, I had to look up how many days it was since the shuffle dating.
No, but it seems that you really match. And I think that's one of the interesting things when we plan this type of events, because a lot of people say, like, oh, there is too many random people. But sometimes those random people are actually what you need, because in dating apps, we tend to go for our own biases. And
Yep.
having different kind of people really open the opportunities to actually find someone.
Well, and there's also so much to the energy of a person and how they present themselves and the sound of their voice, and that you just don't get in an app.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I did it the first time I did it. I didn't get any matches, but they were all pleasant conversations. And, I think honestly, like I think we got a little lucky. But I think if I hadn't matched with anyone on my second time, I would have done it again, because it's just it's fairly pleasant, and you get the opportunity to get that IRL experience.
Yeah, that's true. Ariel, you were
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. When I finished the night of the One Shuffle dating event I went to, I was like, okay, well, if I don't match with anybody, would I do this again? And I was like, yeah, because the hour and a half that I spent out talking to people in an interesting venue I'd never been to before was infinitely more enjoyable than the hours of misery I'd spent on dating apps. And I think that so much of it, like you said, is there's things that we know this intellectually, there's things that you can't read about people via text or photos that it's just, we don't know. What is it? Is it body language? Is it like literal smell, like not just chemistry, but like the literal way a person smells? Like is it energy, right? Like whatever it is, I got to a place where I was like, clearly I'm not doing good at screening people via my phone. And even if I spend an hour and a half screening people and realizing that none of these people are a fit, I would still rather spend my time that way. I spend enough time on my phone. We all spend too much time on our phones, even if it's just, having an evening out talking to people that doesn't turn into dating. That's lovely too.
That's true. Even now, we are trying to get friending events, because a lot of people were asking for the friend button.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so that's something we're trying to implement as well. Because a lot of people are saying, like, maybe it didn't match romantically, but I want to be friends with that person. And I think after COVID and after the years we spent in our houses, a lot of people are craving, like, being close to humans. So that's why a lot of the shuffle events gone really well.
Yeah, no, I used to run a website, and the number of people who write on the internet about how lonely they are. And of course, the irony here is, well, what's the solution? Stop writing on the internet, go talk to some people in real life. But that's easier said than done, especially, and that was before COVID, especially since COVID, we've all kind of lost some of our social skills. So I think structure that can help provide kind of the safe container for people to remember that it's okay to talk to strangers and make friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thumbs
Yeah,
up.
for sure. My last question will be, what is your recommendation for people who want to try shuffle for the first time? They already tried shuffle and didn't get like a match and they are discouraged for it. What will be your recommendation about it?
I would say go go in with just expectations of chatting with people, and from a variety of different backgrounds and ethnicities, and then I found it useful just to follow the prompts on, if you're stuck, or you're uncomfortable, or not the type of person to initiate conversations, is just use the prompt that the website gives you, and look presentable.
Yeah,
What do
I
you think?
think my advice would be just go in with a open mind and an open heart. Easier said than done sometimes. But that if you can just stay curious, I feel like everybody has something to teach us. And whether it's, this person is going to be the person I want to date, or whether it's, I met someone at the shuffle event I went to who was a relatively young widower. And just, I haven't had any friends who've had partners pass away who've then gone into dating. I don't know anybody who's gone through that process in my 40s. And it was really interesting to talk to someone who'd clearly gone through, a really heartbreaking experience, and then had grieved a lot and had done a lot of self-reflection, and then was emerging into dating during a time when, they hadn't expected to. Not that any of us ever expect to, but I feel like if you can go into the events just curious about your fellow humans, it's an interesting event regardless, but it's also just, I think you're so much more likely to know if someone's a fit when you can actually share space with them in person. Yeah, I've recommended it to all my single friends, basically. I'm like, it worked for me. Give it a shot.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for the interview. I really appreciate it.